Ave Coders. Composition is a fundamental concept in object-oriented programming, or OOP, that allows creating complex objects by combining simpler objects. In other words, composition is a way of creating complex objects from simple ones. In Python, composition is achieved by using instance variables that are objects. A music band is a perfect example of how composition can be used in OOP. A music band is made up of different musicians, each playing a specific instrument. We can represent this structure in Python using classes and instances of those classes. Let's start by defining a simple class, musician, that represents a musician in the band. Next, let's define a class band that represents a music band and uses the musician class. The band class has two instance variables, name and members. The members variable is a list of musician instances representing the musicians in the band. The play music method returns a list of strings that describe each musician playing their instrument. Finally, let's create an instance of the band class and see how it uses the musician class to represent a music band. This code creates four instances of the musician class, each representing a different musician in the band. It then creates an instance of the band class, representing the music band, let's say the Beatles. Finally, it calls the play music method on the Beatles object and prints the result, which is a list of strings describing each musician playing their instrument. This is a simple example of how composition can be used in OOP. By combining instances of the musician class, we can create a complex object, the band class, that represents a music band. There are several benefits of using composition in OOP, including reusability, so reusing existing objects to create new objects is a key principle of OOP. By using composition, we can leverage the functionality of existing classes and use them as building blocks to create more complex objects. Flexibility. Composition allows us to easily modify the behavior of a complex object by changing the objects it is composed of. This makes it easier to maintain and update our code, since changes can be made at a granular level. Abstraction. Composition can help us achieve abstraction by encapsulating the details of the individual objects and presenting a higher level view of the composite object. This makes the code easier to understand and maintain. Code organization. Composition helps us organize our code into smaller, reusable parts. This makes it easier to understand the code and helps reduce the risk of bugs and errors. Improved testing. By using composition, we can create smaller, more focused objects that are easier to test. This makes it easier to ensure that the code is working correctly and reduces the risk of bugs and errors. Here are some tips for using composition effectively in OOP. First of all, keep it simple. Avoid creating overly complex objects by composition. If a composite object is too complex, it can become difficult to understand and maintain. Basically, you can use composition to encapsulate the details of individual objects and present a higher level view of the composite object. For example, use composition to represent the relationship between a music band and its musicians. Avoid creating circle dependencies between objects by composition. This can lead to confusion and make it difficult to understand the code. Use composition in combination with inheritance. Composition and inheritance are often used together in OOP. Use inheritance to create a hierarchy of classes and use composition to create relationships between objects. In conclusion, composition is a powerful concept in OOP that allows creating complex objects by combining simpler objects. By using composition, we can achieve reusability, flexibility, abstraction, code organization, and improved testing. When using composition, though, it's important to keep it simple. Use it to create abstractions, model real-world relationships, avoid creating circle dependencies, and use it in combination with inheritance. That was V. Please give this video Emperor's thumbs up, toll the bell, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in a bite.